So that
Uh,
links into something else that I want to talk about, which is around habits and how we maintain habits and how we like have consistency. But it sounds like you're also talking about listening to your own energy. So consistency might not be consistent if
oh,
you're listening to yourself.
yeah.
Does that make
I,
sense?
I've said this several times. The only thing I'm consistent with is being inconsistent. And I'm sure it's really annoying for some people or a bit confusing, but I have just had to accept, and this is definitely one of my mental demons, if you like, that I've really had to overcome, like a real challenge that I used to always fight against myself is you should be like this, you need to be doing like this, consistency, be the same, meet these schedules, do this much work. And I was a bit of a workaholic, like when I was doing photography, I used to work 16 hours a day on the computer all the time and stuff. Like it was like now I'm like, that's crazy. I couldn't even do it now, even if I tried. um I've just had to learn, because what happened for me is I would follow these energy flows. And we said briefly, like when we were chatting before we started the podcast, like you get these big ideas and you want to roll with it. And actually, like I say, when I started the community projects and stuff, they built up a lot of momentum a lot quick, and it was too much. I couldn't handle it, and I burnt out, and then I had to stop. So it was pretty similar as to like what happened. Like I say, when I did my spiritual awakening, when I was doing work in the media industry, I was doing too much, and when I was down there and when I was doing that, I was using all these substances to keep going. You know what I mean? I was, all these addictions and stuff to keep going and keep going. And I think I'm just finding my flow again now. Um, so when that last phase ended, when I was doing the creative, like the garden stuff and that, and then trying to do online stuff, there was quite a lot going on with all that. And actually it came to a head. So I was kind of forced to stop actually. It was picking up quite a bit of momentum. But I just had, like I say, we all struggled a lot with that period with COVID. We had a few bereavements, and my mum ended up having a stroke, and I just made I couldn't do it anymore. Just and the community garden, which I cared very deeply about, that was a real wound. Was stopped quite abruptly, and we had to like basically undo everything we'd done. It was quite traumatic and stressful. So everything just happened at once, and I just knew then, because I'd learned now twice already, like I just needed to stop.
Yeah.
And I did. So it was like 18 months really in the end, where I stopped, and I was caring for my mom. And I had tried to like keep some bits going. I had like tried to run the boutique, because it's not like a heavy, that's quite a, it was just a bit of promotion and stuff. And it was quite fun. So I did that for a bit. And then when it took a toll on my health, and I just thought, I was just like, I'm just not doing this. I'm not repeating this cycle, because I'd learned my lesson. I'm not repeating the cycle. My body is telling me to stop. Everything in that energy is telling me that this is a time that I need to honor my grief. I need to respect what's happened, slow down. And actually, there hasn't been easy consequences to that decision, mind. It's our society is actually not set up to support people to do that. And that is just the reality.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Um, the systems and I hate the way the propaganda works, that people are really, there's this horrible narrative, isn't it, about people, about benefits, which I actually think is such a beautiful system. Like when you look at the core of it, we all chip in to make sure when people go through tough times that they've got support and a safety net. That's an innovative, beautiful aspect of humanity, and we've just ruined it. But because actually I found it incredibly stressful to try and get support, and I didn't fit in any of the boxes, and I've ended up, in certain ways financially, in different ways, just really having that period where I had to struggle. I didn't get the support that would have been ideal trying to like process some grief and get my health back on track and everything, and then dealing with the NHS again, like watching my mom go through, which was really interesting actually, because I did have, after my experiences with mental health and the NHS and stuff, I had a distance, and I did have this idea about that system, we'll call it. And it was amazing what they did to save my mom's life with her stroke. But actually, what was fascinating is that although they were very clever and they could physically repair what happened, as in they did some amazing surgeries and things, and my mum was really critically quite ill, and they managed to save her life. When speaking to the neuroscientists, and this is one of the top neuroscientists in the country, cutting edge, doctors who did, like say, did amazing things, even admitted they don't know. They don't know why certain people heal. They don't know why, what memory is. They don't understand, consciousness and all that. And so that was quite fascinating. So everything I had learned, that other side of stuff, obviously I couldn't help my mom physically recover from her stroke in those technical ways. But actually, I was prepared, and I knew how to support her in other ways as part of our healing and rehabilitation, and honoring what she had been through and trying to build her back up, with her recovery. Something as tragic as a stroke takes its toll. So yes, I can't remember what the original question was. I think we were talking about
habits and
habits.
listening to yourself and your energy.
Yes. So now that for me was another solidified, embodied lesson in itself of just honoring myself, because what I learned is the more that I push, the more I'm trying to force myself to do something, the less well I am.
Yeah.
And I've just had to learn to prioritize my well-being, because actually if I get stuck into that mindset which I could have done, I could have easily got stuck back into that old habit of coping mechanisms or self-criticism and trying to push and push and push and push. I would probably be depressed or anxious right now and not being able to do these things. So I have just learned how to honor the way my energy works, know my limitations, and I have certain things that I have to do every day to give me the space to be functional, if you like, do work, and certain things that I do just for fun or just for inspiration, like the poetry and stuff.
And so you're writing every day, you said before.
Sorry, I just
you're writing every day, aren't you?
Yeah, so at the minute, what I'm spending most of my time doing is I'm looking down here because I've got all my notes all over everywhere down here. I'm writing a couple of courses. I was really inspired to finish a couple of courses that I'd started before we had the stop on everything. So I'm writing a couple of courses. One of them is about breaking illusions, funnily enough, which is about a lot of what we've talked about, is kind of like looking at what is reality, what can we control, how we might have picked certain conditions up that actually block us and stop us. It brings in all sorts of stuff, actually. It even brings in stuff about what I learned in the media industry, how propaganda works, how our subconscious can be manipulated. It gets a little bit deep, that one, but that's about the mind. It's about mind health and breaking fears. I've learned over the years how to break a lot of fear and work through anxiety. So that one's about that. And then the other one I'm developing is I've lost the name of it now. What is it? Building your energetic power. Ooh. So that's about tapping into how we use energy and what energy is, and it's kind of linking everything from nature to the ethereal realms, if you like.
Nice.
Or I explore things like I do work through, in each section it kind of works through kind of color, talks about like because color, so I started as a graphic designer and a photographer. Light and color is like my thing. That's where I actually did my dissertation on how can we judge a book by its cover, and it was a combination of propaganda and how design is used to, because of the different frequencies, because of what it does to our body, and light healing and stuff, and the colors and things like that. It all affects our energy state. So basically in this course I'm like breaking down different aspects of that, and I'm probably going to release it as if it's like over a period of time where you kind of explore. I don't tell people what to think or what to do in any of these courses, but what I do is present what I've learned and offer different suggestions and of practices or exercises or things they can do, activities to do that will open them up to find out what that works for them and different things. So I'm enjoying that. They're a bit different, but they're quite. I always end up going off on one because, especially these days as well, with the internet the way it is. So I write the courses, and I want them to be accessible as well. And a lot of creative people, because that's generally the people who I guess I resonate with, the creative, spiritual kind of people. Some of them prefer to read processing. Some people like to hear. So everything that I write, I then try and like do videos on as well, so people can choose whether or not they're doing videos, and that's a lot of work.
So is this pure online that people can access at any time? How do people access your course?
Yes, so the online space is Love School. It's loveschool.uk. And I do loads of free content because I want to help as many people as I can if they're interested. So
And
I do try and publish some stuff on
do you charge
YouTube.
for stuff as well?
Yeah, the courses I charge for, but the courses are low cost. And I do have a couple slots where I do mentorship. So I generally promote a bit of a mentorship, which is one-to-one if anyone's interested. But I keep that, like I say, because I manage my energy. I love supporting people one-to-one. I love a good like natter, and when I support people one-to-one, we like really dive into subjects, and that's really cool. But I can only do that. I couldn't do, some people like have all these clients and things like that. I build relationships with people now, and I like supporting them. So I only generally support people one-to-one, a couple of people at a time. And the courses are there because I think there's a lot of stuff we can work through ourselves. If people, some people are lucky, some people maybe can get access to different therapies, they can afford different therapies. Some people can't. Some people don't want to. They don't feel comfortable. They want to learn at home, or they want to go through things in their own pace. So that was kind of the download I got for Love School, was just to have these courses that people could do at home. So a couple of the ones that I've got up and running at the minute is an inner child healing course.
Oh, nice.
Which was massively important for me. I've got loads of free content there as well. I always forget what I've even produced because, like I say, I kind of produce stuff and then I like move on. But there's loads of free content. So there's a blog and there's the YouTube channel with videos and things. So if people like to read or they like to watch videos, all the links are at the website, so they can go and have a look. If they join the email list, I email them out when I remember.
So
when I get yes.
Coming down to this, how to stick at something. So if someone accesses one of your courses, there is, even if it's at their own pace, there is that need to have some sort of momentum to do something daily or weekly or something to get the most out of it. Because what my problem is, I've spoken to, I don't know, 45 people since I've started doing this podcast. Oh. Most people have been telling me about practices that I think, yeah, this sounds good. Some a little bit dubious still, but there's loads of stuff that I'm thinking, yeah, if I put this into practice, I would get something from it, and I'll do it for a week and then I won't. And it's how do we really get that momentum whilst listening to our energy, but how do we stick at shit, essentially?